Hello, good evening, and welcome back. Here is another example of the escalation in the culture war from The Independent. Armed 69-year-old anti-fascist, and I love they're using quotes now. Yes, whenever somebody on your opponent's side does something wrong, no need for quotes there, you can label them whatever you want, lump them all in together even if they disagree with each other, because hey, they're the evil people, so they are definitely whatever we call them. But when somebody on our side does something wrong, let's use quotes because there's no true Scotsman. Everybody else has done communism wrong. So, armed 69-year-old anti-fascist shot dead after firebombing immigration centre. And it is Wilhelm van Spronsen, who's described locally as a committed anarchist and anti-fascist. Yes, belonging to the local Antifa arm. A rifle armed, AR-15 armed, 69-year-old has been fatally shot by the police after throwing incendiary devices at an immigration centre in Tacoma, Washington. Why do you think he has done this? Could it be because of people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez saying, children are separated from the parents at the border, except that that's exactly what happens to any criminal. If you enter the country illegally, then by definition that is illegal, you are a criminal, and if you are a legal citizen and commit a crime, you are sent to prison, in which case you are separated from your children. That is the same as happens with any criminal. And then you're just going to say, and they drink from toilets, by which you mean the basin, so the sink and the toilet are combined into one unit, because then it's easier for engineering, takes up less space and it's more economical, and dare I say environmentally friendly. But again, yes, let's use those semantics in order to make it look worse than it is. Let's call them concentration camps, even though people are trying to get in and not trying to get out. It's not people being rounded up and saying they can't leave and they're going to be worked to death. It's saying, hey, if you want to join us, then maybe you should go through this vetting process so you know who we're letting in, and this isn't just anybody, because we want to keep our country great. If you're going to make America great again, you then want to keep it great once you have it, and not just let anybody in who will take it and be as parasitical as they can be in order to get around what other people have done. It is normally the law-abiding immigrants who then hate the illegal immigrants the most, because they resent the fact that other people can get around what they're trying to do. And that's why it's been said, the same with Tommy Robinson trying to get political asylum, as in freeing himself from political attack in England. He's saying, wants to get into America, but it might be easier for him to do what the Africans have been doing, which is just to fly to Central America and then move their way up north in order to cross the border that way, seeing as it has become so easy. Could it be saying, using words like never forget, as in a throwback again to World War II and the concentration camps? Yes, then maybe at this point, if somebody takes what you say at face value and actually thinks you're correct, then they're going to be thinking that they're doing the correct thing. And thankfully, this gentleman did indeed create a manifesto. And he would say, one friend of 20 years, Deb Bartley, told the Seattle Times she and others had received letters from him, which read, just saying goodbye, along with what she described as a manifesto. And we have it here from Jack Pezabiak on Twitter. So here we have it. There's wrong and there's right. It's time to take action against the forces of evil. The Forces of Evil is a great ska band formed about 15 years ago by Aaron Barrett from Real Big Fish. Would recommend if you like ska music. It's great. It's disbanded, but nonetheless, it's a great band. Evil says one life is worth less than another. Most people would agree with that, though. You have in-group preferences, as in, you're going to say that your child's life is worth more than a stranger. Evil says the flow of commerce is our purpose here. It makes people's lives easier. It means that if you wish to pursue a life of artistic endeavour, it can be more lucrative for you because other people appreciate your work and they will happily do what they're good at in order for you to get what you want, and you can do what you want, and then they will get what they want because you're good at it. Evil says concentration camps for folks deemed lesser are necessary. Again, we're caught up in semantics here, aren't we? Because it may be more than semantics to call them concentration camps. We know what you're alluding to, and you're wrong. The Handmaid of Evil says the concentration camps should be more humane. Beware the centrist. Then let's not call them concentration camps, because they're not. I have a father's broken heart, I have a broken down body, and I have an unshakable abhorrence of injustice. Cool. Then read around, seeing as you're a fan of reading. This is what brings me here. This is my clear opportunity to try to make a difference. I'd be an ingrate to be waiting for a more obvious invitation. Bear in mind, this person did firebomb the detention facility, tried to set fire to the propane tanks, in which case he surely would have hurt the people he was trying to help, because if they were locked up, then they wouldn't have been able to escape so readily, in which case they would have been burned to death, and he was shot to death by 4 police. They said they had all discharged their weapons. I followed 3 teachers. Don't forget my spiritual guide. Love without action is just a word. What about the 80% of women trying to cross the border who are raped? How's that love? Is that not reciprocated? I see. John Brown, my moral guide. What is needed is action. Sure, deeds, not words. Emily Pankhurst, the terrorist. Suffragist, yes. Suffragette, not suffragist, sorry. Emmy Goldman, my political guide. If I can't dance, I don't want to be in a revolution. Sounds like neat larping at revolutionaries. I'm head of the couch dreamer. I believe in love and redemption. I don't know how loving you can be when you're throwing fire at people. I believe we're going to win, as everybody does. I'm joyfully revolutionary. We all should have been reading Emma Goldman in school instead of the jingo drill that we were fed, but I digress. Okay, we should all be looking at the photos of the YPJ heroes. Should we falter and think our dreams are impossible? But I double digress. Okay, whatever. In these days of fascist hooligans preying on vulnerable people on our streets. Oh, you mean Antifa? Good, I'm glad we agree. In the name of the state or supported and defended by the state. They're not at all, not even in the slightest. It is the Antifa trying to find weak people to prey on and beat them up, whilst covering themselves because they know what they're doing is illegal, and maybe they even know what they're doing is morally reprehensible. In these days of highly profitable detention, concentration camps, and a battle over the semantics. Yes, you mentioned semantics because you know that they're not concentration camps, they are detention facilities in order to detain people from entering the country illegally, because borders are necessary in order to have a functioning society, especially if you want things like healthcare. You've got to have people paying in order to afford it. You've got to have people just entering without paying for it and then receiving benefits. You can't provide the whole globe from just one country, unless you're trying to be the world police, in which case America seems to be doing surprisingly well. In these days of hopelessness, empty pursuit, and endless yearning, dude, clear up your punctuation and your grammar. We are living in visible fascism ascendant. I say visible because those paying attention watched it survive and thrive under the protection of the state for decades. See how it's in a people's history of the United States. Now it unabashedly follows this agenda with open and full cooperation from the government, from governments around the world. Not in the slightest. Who is saying they are fascist? Unless you're saying together we are strong, or together we stand, divided we fall. Because that is fascist, saying that a bundle of sticks is stronger together than a stick on its own. In which case you have a lot of people agreeing with that. So then how far into what you want to get? Do you want to get is in the state dictating what society should do, in which case you're into socialism, but that seems to be what you're supporting, because then socialism is a stepping stone to communism. If you look back at the USSR and their inspirations, X marks the spot, if you know what I mean. Fascism serves the needs of the state, serves the needs of the business, and at your expense. Who benefits? Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Tim Cook, Bill Gates, Betsy DeVos, George Soros, Graham in there as well, Donald Trump, and need to go on. Yes, by all means do go on. Are you now saying it's actually class warfare and not racial? I am surprised. You've gone back to the Occupy Wall Street demonstrations. Let me say it again. Rich guys who think you're not really all that good really dig government everywhere, including communist governments, because they make the rules that make rich guys richer. In a way, yes, you're definitely correct, which is why we're all for small government, because we don't want lobbying to be able to take effect, because we are concerned that the rules would then favour one type of person and the companies that already exist, and that'd make it harder for others to get into the company. Simple, don't overthink it. Well, yes, don't overthink it, otherwise you might realise that he's wrong. Are you patriots in the back paying attention? So patriot is okay, nationalist isn't? To my comrades, is that communist dog whistle, or just overtly communist? I agree that I'll miss the rest of the revolution, there won't be one. Thank you for the honour of having been in your midst. Cool, so you're not affiliated, you are affiliated with people, if you have comrades. Giving me space to be useful, to feel that I was fulfilling my ideals has been the spiritual pinnacle of my life. Doing what I can to help defend my precious and wondrous people is an experience too rich to describe. My trans comrades have transformed me. I don't want to know, I really don't. Solidifying my conviction that we will be guided to a dreamed of future by those most marginalised among us today. I have dreamed so clearly that I've no regret for not seeing how it turns out. Thank you for bringing me so far along. Is this like John Lennon's Imagine? It's like, that isn't possible. Have you heard of MS-13? If you're talking about crossing the border, this ain't gonna happen. And it is concerning that people like AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, push these fringe wacko ideas to suggest that things are so much worse than they are. It's like, as Tony Robbins, the self-help coach, successful man worth $400 million, motivational speaker, whatever you want to call him, he says that, yes, well, when you're in your garden and you see the weeds, then do deal with the weeds. Don't pretend they're worse than they are, but don't pretend that they're not there either. Just be real about it. So yes, there are things wrong, but don't think that they're all-encompassing, because they're not. I am Antifa, so you are affiliated. Fantastic. I stand with comrades around the world who act from the love of life in every permutation. Comrades who understand that freedom means real freedom for all and that life is worth living. Give the faith all power to the people, better ciao. Right. Audio manifesto. Good. Good on you. For those who can't read. Like Muhammad. Wait. and Gabriel, the demon, yes. Don't let your silly government agency spend money investigating this one. I was radicalised in civics class at 13 when we were taught about the Electoral College. That is to protect the minorities from the majority, to negate mob rule. It was at that point that I decided that status quo might be a house of cards. Further reading confirmed that the positive, highly recommended reading. As do I. How about Thomas Sowell? Vision of the Anointed. Sounds perfect for this. I'm not affiliated with any organisation. Wait, what? But you're not Antifa. But you are Antifa. But you're not affiliated. I see. If you like reading, do you like writing with punctuation? Do you like making sense? I've disaffiliated from any organisations who disagree with my choice of tactics. That's fine, Antifa are fine with violence. The semi-automatic eye weapon I used was a cheap, home-built, unregistered Ghost AR-15. I had 6 magazines. Oh yeah, and that's a good point, that with 3D printing, I'm not saying he did that, but with 3D printing coming along, that you, as you already can, you can print guns at home without anybody knowing that you've done it. So, good luck banning guns as that happens. I strongly encourage comrades and incoming comrades to arm themselves. We are now responsible for defending people from the predatory state. Cool, so you are pro-Second Amendment. We agree. Ignore the law and arming yourself if you have the luxury. I did. So you're saying gun laws don't work. Fantastic. But that is it. So you have an idea of what drives people to make such an action, and thought it worth reading this and making it public before they banned it. Link will be in the description if you want to read it for yourself. But that is about it. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think that this is going to be happening more and more and more and more? If people don't take a step back and say, maybe I got a bit carried away with my rhetoric, and maybe I should be more sensible in what I tell people because, hey, they might actually take it seriously. Do you think anyone, any high-ranking official, is responsible if you believe that calls to action should not be protected free speech? And obviously they are not at the moment in the First Amendment. So do you think anybody is responsible with their extreme rhetoric in encouraging people to do this sort of thing? Do let me know down below, and I will see you next time.